Carson Wentz has made his big splash return with the Minnesota Vikings, beating the Cincinnati Bengals 48-10. Not even beating them, smashing the Cincinnati Bengals. That was after losing against the Atlanta Falcons the week prior. They are back onto winning ways, only scoring 6 points in that game as well. They're back to winning ways. And they were also, well, I believe he went down in the game, but Aaron Jones also now headed to IR as well. So they wouldn't about him. They had Jordan Mason starting, but Wentz went 14 for 20, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, and only 3 sacks on the day. Had a couple of rush attempts. Wow, 2 attempts for 4 yards. J.J. McCarthy obviously injured, not there at the minute. Wentz has now been named the starter as well, Sky, but will be in Dublin, which is where me and you will be this weekend for the Pittsburgh Steelers Minnesota Vikings game. And I can imagine J.J. McCarthy's not gone with them. However, I don't know that for sure. I may have to look that up in a minute.
He's going to split the G. Maybe that's what he's doing this weekend.
Maybe that's it. That's how the fastest way to recovery is Guinness. That's what I do here. That's why I drink enough of it. Which will mean, so that will mean for their international tour. Obviously, they're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin this weekend, and then they're playing the Cleveland Browns in London at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium the weekend after, which again we'll be in attendance for. Wentz is having an international tour. This is European Wentz, European Carson coming to conquer the whole of Europe with the Minnesota Vikings.
Is he left Meghan Markle at home, so he's come back to UK? Is this Carson Wentz's UK and Ireland? I should add. He's come back to
UK and Ireland. Yes,
he has returned. I don't know. We all love a bit of a throwback, right? It was what 8-9 years ago since since Eagles fans said he should have won the MVP. They won the Super Bowl anyway, so I don't know why they're still always banging on about that. But no, it was good. I think we all look. He had a good game, but Mike Tomlin's even been saying in the build up to this about the arsenal of weapons that offense has, and how I don't know if I took it as a slide dig because I read it and I didn't read it. But he was like, "Oh, a veteran can always." I'm paraphrasing, basically saying could always initially stabilize an offense. I was kind of like, "Oh, he's just basically saying that he's only done well because it's like a feel good factor." Playing a bit of mind games there. But I think it was more just that the Bengals, as we know, have an awful defense. We spoke about that in our, preseason previews. And the fact that Joe Burrow's out, of course, they weren't going to get anything going. So Vikings, you spoke about Flores before in our other topic, Fred. He's a great defensive coordinator. He dialed up enough blitzes and enough plays to sort of throw him off. And that probably has settled any nerves that Wentz had because he just had to still made some great plays. I was watching, obviously, on Red Zone. He did well. But I know your defense, obviously, as in the Steelers, weren't great the first 2 weeks. Still gave up a lot of yards against my Patriots, but forced turnovers, which was encouraging. And I think it'll be a lot bigger test, for him to go against the talent that's on your team. When they come to London, they'll be fine. Well, actually, that's harsh.
I don't know. The Browns defense, that's a real defense.
Hey, if that Browns defense are playing against the Packers comes to London, it might actually be it would be good that we're there. It'd actually be an entertaining game. So, I guess I'm more intrigued to see if he does play well. And we're probably in Sam Darnold territory again from last year, where I was saying, if it comes to London and they're winning and then they leave, narrative changes on this team. The narrative on Carson Wentz will be interesting, whether he's going to continue the full season if they leave this international tour with 2 wins.
Because Adam McCarthy in them games did not look great, did he? He didn't look like he was setting the world alight just yet, and he did look like much like in our first section with Jackson Dart, looked like maybe, all right, he was on the sideline last year, but he was on the sideline watching at home. That is very different from being on the sideline and being part of the squad. I've just got, as per Adam Schefter 2 days ago, he is coming. He is coming to Europe, so he will be here for the next 2 games in Dublin, Ireland, and in at Tottenham, London. So he'll be there. But when I look at Wentz's journey, right, since he was drafted in 2016, he was at the Eagles, obviously MVP. Nearly went to the Super Bowl, but was not participating in their playoff run because of injury. Then played at the Colts, started at the Commanders. And then in the last 2 years, it felt like them teams were like, where could I be a starter? And then when I look at it now, 2023 he goes to the Rams. 2024 he goes to the Chiefs. This year he goes to the Vikings. I think he's been very, very smart in that, look, I'm not going to be a starter. I'm not going to be a starter in this league. This is clear to me now. But where can I go where I can absorb the most knowledge, where I can be around coaching, but is at the highest talent with Sean McVay, with Andy Reid, with Kevin O'Connell? He's been very, very smart about his moves. Now, that could be to do with people who wanted him and what teams wanted him, etc., etc. But it says something to me about them three teams who've been so successful in the last 3 or 4 years that they all either approached him or got the deal done for him to be there as backup or as the third string. What do you think that says about Carson?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there is an element of knowledge. I think there's also, or gaining knowledge from coaches. I think there's also an element of making sure that you're in a position where there is a chance that you can play as well. Not so much with the Chiefs, but certainly with the Rams, with Stafford and his injury history. Certainly at the moment, you've got J.J. McCarthy, obviously rookie quarterback, so you just don't know how that's going to go. So there is a bit of that. But yeah, I mean, it does show that maybe there's still a bit of fight left in him, and that he thinks that he can still get involved in games and play and show what he can do. And that obviously this game against the Bengals defense, as Sky said, we did come out and say how bad they were, and we're expecting them not to get much better this season. So it's not a massive shock. Obviously, with Burrow not being there, there's no sort of nothing from, or not much from their offense. So it did become a bit of an easy win. And you do have to remember a lot of it came from the defense. There was a lot of that. So yes, they put up 48 points, but Wentz did only have 2 passing touchdowns. So it's not like it was an amazing game from him. It was a solid game from him, and he did well. And I think, like you say, he's probably garnered that information from these really good coaches. And also, I think there's an element of, if you can do well as a backup, then it keeps you going in the league, doesn't it? It's like, if he goes to the Rams and he's with Sean McVay, well, Kevin O'Connell's come from the same coaching tree as that, and they come out and go, well, how about you give him a go? And so in that respect, I think he's probably done well to make sure that he's kept himself relevant, I suppose, is what it's about. So yeah, I think he's probably been quite clever with what he's done. Maybe he might have given up money, who knows, in order to be able to do that. You don't know. But I think that game, although there's a lot of sort of caveats to it, I think it does show that he still has a little bit of something left, and that he could be decent for the Vikings. He could kind of do a Sam Darnold and sort of have that potential to look like someone who's washed, but could come back and, under very good coaching, could actually be all right. So yeah, I think he's got a solid chance of doing well for them.
The only problem with Carson, obviously, his age isn't on this side compared to someone like Sam Darnold, isn't it? Like
of course, yeah,
that is the case.
Right,
And
yeah,
and I mean, I'm going to ask both of you this, but Sky, obviously, you can answer first, and Adam after. Well, actually, one point beforehand. Yes, the defense did a lot of very, very good work for the Vikings, but coming from a Steelers fan who's seen this, you still got to get the points. And I have had a defense for a long time who's been very good at stopping the points, but then an offense that is just not capable of getting the points and putting them points up. And it is all very good saying that, oh yeah, well, the defense, if they had a poor defense, would they have won it? Yeah, maybe they wouldn't have, but you got to still score the points, and that was Carson Wentz. And yeah, we've never doubted about the talent that the Vikings have in their running back room. Yes, all right, they've got Aaron Jones and Jibber. Jordan Mason's a more than capable backup. Justin Jefferson, fantastic. They're getting back Jordan Addison. In fact, they might be getting Jordan Addison back for this game, I believe.
Yeah,
against the Steelers. Jalen Naylor as well, speedy. He's amazing. TJ Hawkinson, the tight end whose name I just completely forgot then, who's really good as well. But here's an interesting question. If they come back to America, what would they be? 4-1. Does he stay in? because he's meant to. McCarthy's scheduled to be back by week 7, which is the game after the bye, which is hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Just to note that as well.
Obviously, it depends on how they win, but I think probably yes, because we saw it with. I mean, it was a quarterback competition last offseason, right, between Darnold and McCarthy, and then the injury happened. It was Darnold. People forget the Vikings they've got the most expensive roster in the league. I think in terms of what they're spending, and haven't won a playoff game in like 6 years. So, I mean, that division is insane. We know the Lions and Packers are better than them, and Bears, I won't say they are, but I think they're at least more talented or have the potential to be. But what I'm getting at is the Vikings spending that much money. If your quarterback gets you to 4-1, I think O'Connell thinks, well, I need to give us with the best possible chance to get us to the postseason again and try and get over that playoff hump. And maybe Wentz is the one in the short term to do that. And then also maybe again for McCarthy, we talk about development of quarterbacks. It's another injury and it's another way of protecting him. And then he gets more, experience learning again on the bench. But I just don't really see a situation where I don't think Wentz is going to play that fantastically, where it's more him who he just needs to really game manage in these next couple of games and do and then he might have a chance. If he tries to do hero ball, which we know he has tried, I think he tried that a lot in Indy as well when he was trying to have his redemption arc. If he goes and tries to be old Carson Wentz, McCarthy might get his job back. But I think it's possible. I think if they come back to America 4-1, he probably will keep it, at least for the Eagles game, because I think of the viewings you'll get. Wentz back against Philly. Oh, the NFL will love it.
But, well, yeah, but again, I mean, the NFL would love it. That would feel so scripted. But again, say he doesn't, Adam, and he comes back 0-2 from Europe. They then host Philly, at the Chargers, at the Lions, host the Ravens, host the Bears, at Packers, at Seahawks, host the Commanders, at Dallas, at New York, host Lions, host Packers. That's to close out the season. I mean, for J.J. McCarthy to come back to Eagles, Chargers, Lions, Ravens, Bears, in Packers, Seahawks, Commanders, who have all got very good defense. I mean, that is... Yeah, imagine.
I think he's there for straight. Or Kevin O'Connell might get some snaps in. He played quarterback. Maybe he'll get his shoulder ready to rock and roll.
Firstly, do you think he'll come back 0-2 or 2-0, Adam? And then you can answer the best of the question.
Yeah, exactly. Neither.
I think he'll go 1-1.
Yeah,
1-1.
Yeah, I think they. It's really difficult because the Steelers' defense is not what it was based on what I've seen from the first 3 weeks, and because of that, you feel like the Vikings have got a good chance of winning that game. But I think it'll be tight. It wouldn't shock me if they lost it and the Steelers won it. So I think that's a bit 50-50. I would be surprised if the Vikings lost to the Browns. So I'll say I think it's 1-1 or 2-0. I think they're the two options personally. I don't think they go 0-2. And to be honest, at 1-1, it means you're what, 3-2? I think that you keep Wentz in. McCarthy looked awful. Like he's played 2 games. The first game he was dreadful for 3 quarters, and then looked all right at the end and got a couple of touchdowns. He looked okay against Chicago, and then against Atlanta just looked dreadful. Just didn't do anything at all. Looked awful. What did he have? He had a couple of interceptions. I don't think they got a touchdown against Atlanta. Wasn't it 2 field goals they got? It was dire.
I mean, that game. It was awful.
His stats are 24-41, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, 9 sacks. That was in 2 games.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's not great. Sometimes it doesn't work, does it? It's like, and Andrew will be the first one to come out and say that he spent most of his time at Michigan just passing the ball off to the running back and Yeah, he had a few throws, but it wasn't great. And you know, I remember when we did the draft show, and I came out and said it's really difficult to judge this guy because there just wasn't much when it came to passing the ball. And he stepped up. You know, obviously he's missed the whole of the first year, stepped up into the NFL, and the first couple of games have been pretty poor. So yeah, it's been tough. I think if you're 3-2, if you're 4-1, you're rolling with Wentz, aren't you? And it kind of showed that the Vikings are willing to do that because of what happened last year as well. It's like, I know it's an injury and it was a bit different, and McCarthy couldn't come back, but they were willing to let Darnold take it on, and it worked. And I think that they might think that this could work with Wentz as well.
I think, sorry, just to say one last point, Fred, I think they would probably do it the smart way of let Wentz have it, because I do think there's potential there with McCarthy. I know it was only the Bears week 1, but he made some decent plays and obviously got found out against Atlanta. That's going to happen because it is essentially his rookie year. But I think they would probably lean towards Wentz at first. And then if he has an absolute stinker, say, against the Eagles, then O'Connell might go, right, now I'll go back to McCarthy. Because like Adam said, they're clearly not a team who feels any type of way to not make that change. And as I was saying, when you spend that much money, that he's a great offensive mind. He's going to commit to what he thinks is going to work week by week. So I think whatever decision they make, it'll be fine because it's O'Connell calling in place.
I think for me, you've got to think about the future of your franchise, and I think no matter what record you could come back with Wentz, you go back to McCarthy. I think having this a quarterback controversy is just so unhealthy. If definitely from a Steelers fan, it's just so unhealthy for any team. And even running a hot hand, I think you go, well, no, running the hot hand is going to damage the quarterback that I want for the future. And they clearly are invested in him. They clearly are. They wouldn't have drafted him. They wouldn't have put the time and effort they have put into him. They wouldn't have started him this season if they didn't think there was something there. So I think either way, whatever they come back, it's still his role for me.